This video is about taxonomic ethics. So, what is ethics? A set of moral principles or values, the discipline of dealing of what is good and bad, and moral duty and obligation, a system of moral principles and perceptions about right versus wrong, and resulting in a philosophy of conduct practiced by an individual, group, profession, or culture. So, when we talk about this, ethics of taxonomic publications. An author of a taxonomic paper should not make an attempt to attack personality of the work of others, as pointed out earlier. Criticism can be done, but only in an identified and cautious manner. The mistake of other committed can be pointed out or rectified in a constructive manner. But personal attack an author only loses his personal reputation than to the worker with he disagrees. Authorship, correspondence, suppression of data. Emotional phraseology and controversy should be avoided in taxonomic papers using the first person. Pronoun too often in taxonomic work is in a bad taste usually. Internationally recognized authors can use first person pronoun in his papers, but only occasionally referring to the merits of one's own work in the proper paper will also gives chance to others to look down upon the use of such language. It's wrong to think that others will need to one's own self ratings. And authorship of taxonomic papers. It is not advisable to have several authors associated with the name of a single taxon. This will create difficulty in citing this name since it will be too lengthy and unwieldy. It is also unlikely that more than one actually collaborated in the identification of a new taxonomic. Some of the head of the institutions or department compel the subordinate workers and students to put their names as first authors of the paper, for which they have contributed nothing much practice against all the norms of ethics in taxonomy or in any other branch of science. I am the contributor. No, I am the contributor. Some conflicts will be there, so we should avoid that. The best way to deal with multiple authorship is to use only the name of the actual author who identify and describe the taxon with the name of the taxon. For example, a paper entitled "A New Species of X as albus" can have multiple authors, but the species name will have only one author, X as albus giganteus NNO. This will give credit to all but not create confusion. Such practice is widely followed by most recent taxonomists. And correspondence. A taxonomist often finds it essential to correspond with other taxonomists requesting for information or types, reprints or publications and reference of data. While requesting reprints, one has to be specific and not to ask in general terms. For example, if one wants to several reprints of the author, he has to explain briefly in his letter how far he has done in his work and what are his future plans. He should also include copies of this publication along with and what are his future plans. He could also include copies of his publication along with the requester without giving such background knowledge, and established worker may not be willing to provide numerous research papers or reprints. When one receives the reprint, should be acknowledged if there is any expense incurred by the sender of the reprint by the way of sent. This is necessary for recipient is often response incurred by the sender of the reprint by the way of postage. It is necessary for the recipient to offer the expense involved. While requesting reprints, the title of the paper, journal in which it was published, and the year should be written clearly instead of requesting all your research paper extract. So most authors will not request to such requests. Respond to such request. Request for loan of specimens should also be specific with brief description of the work so far done by borrower and what he intends to do. He should also state that he will take utmost care in handling the specimens while studying them and pack them properly in the same way as they were received. The specimen should be returned as early possible. All the specimens should be labeled with the determination labels. While returning, it will be nice to add a few type or other identified specimens of the borrower as donation. This will be a good gesture for receiving future loan for material from the lending institutions. While writing letters, one should avoid including anything private which he otherwise does not like others to read. The subject is all such letters, and it's likely that many of them are semi-official letters, and it's likely that many others in the office or laboratory may also read his letters. Then, in recent times, most scientists prefer to use electronic mail through internet instead of slug speed mail. However, both corresponding scientists should write for hard copies for files in the case of loan materials and for other similar documents for the safety of the lender as well as for the borrower. Then, suppression of data. No good taxonomist will deliberately suppress any relevant details while publishing his findings. However, this sometimes happens accidentally due to carelessness, and many scientists acknowledge list inadvertently. This is too good, not good indicator, and one has to be careful of not omitting anyone in the acknowledged page. Similarly, a scientist may give details of an unpublished synonyms based on his work to a revision, and a revisor may sometimes fail to mention that the republished information given by so and so. This action on the part of the revised may not be deliberate but happens inadvertently. One has to be careful to see such mistakes are not avoided.